Welcome to True North Perspective. My name is Sean. On today's episode, we're going to be discussing the situation that is ongoing in Gaza right now. I'm going to be very honest with you. The situation is not very good. There's a lot of suffering going on. A lot of deaths are occurring, especially women and children. One of the things that I found that is very distressing is the fact that innocent little children are being starved to death. There was a call right now where they are asking for more food for children because they are dying, through malnutrition. The other thing also is, to be honest, the Israelis are now, or Zionists are now starting to, commit genocide through chemical warfare, and I'll show you what I mean by that. But this is again another explosive update. I think it is absolutely important that we all know what is happening, what the Zionist regime is doing. They started a war with Iran, as we all know. They claim there's a ceasefire going on over there and that they're working on a ceasefire with Gaza, but that is absolutely false. And I'm referring to what's happening in Gaza. What we're going to do is, let me start off by showing you a video by Professor Norman Finkelstein, that shows you and puts everything into perspective for you. Let's take a quick look at that video. We'll start with that, and then we'll go from there. So here we go. Let me restart it for you.
Famished, starving people. You promise them a little cheese. They're like the showers in Auschwitz. You promise them a little cheese, and then when you get there, the Israeli army shoots them. Gleefully. People don't want to hear that. But remember what the opposition leader in Israel said.
המשימה שלנו היא לוודא שישראל תישאר מדינה שפויה, שלא הורגת ילדים, לא כתחביב ולא כמדיניות.
He said our soldiers are killing children as a hobby. Then there was the poll about 3 weeks ago, which found that half of Israelis support genocide in Gaza. The question was, do you believe that when Israeli soldiers conquer a city, they should kill everybody in the city? That was the question. Not complicated. We don't need a dictionary. 47% of Israeli Jews said yes. It was pure sadism. We could sit here, talk about it, but really, it would require a novelist to capture the sadism of this, I can't find the word, monstrous, pathological. It's very hard to capture it.
So you can see here that they're luring innocent Palestinians to come and get food and aid, and then they are gunning them down. If you're not aware, there is a group called the GHF, which is organized by Americans and by the Israelis, and what they do is, it looks like a prison, to be frankly honest. There are cages that you go through. I shouldn't say cages, but fences. And you go and pick up your aid, and they call everybody and tell them, hey, come over here at this time. And then they start gunning people down. There are other videos that I'm not going to show that are very distressing of, children who have been gunned down and are actually just lying in the dirt, in the sand. They are pictures of innocent little children, and it is absolutely heartbreaking. Little kids who are completely malnourished, and you can actually see their bones. There is very little aid coming into Gaza. Most of the hospitals are non-functional now. There's one hospital that is doing their best, but again, that has been under attack a couple of times. The claim is that there is Hamas hiding under the hospital, but the situation is very, very dire. And you heard Professor Norman Finkelstein say himself that it is pure sadism. It is absolutely disgusting. It is vile. It is filthy. But this is not it. It gets worse. They're also, I think, if you heard me say it earlier, I mentioned that they're also now committing genocide through chemical warfare. So they are actually putting, and there it is, Israel is lacing flour with drugs. So I'm going to show you what I mean with that. If you go further here, and there it is. Israel is secretly poisoning Gaza starving civilians by hiding deadly oxycodone drugs in flour bags. This is not just cruelty. This is chemical warfare disguised as humanitarian aid. I mean, just imagine, right? That you go to pick up flour, you make bread out of it, but you're getting sick from the inside. It makes them more passive. It makes them easier to get them to be submissive. I mean, this is beyond cruel. right? This foundation that they've started, I don't know whether it's called the GHF or GHO, whatever it is, it is not working. It is not working. They are killing more people than they are, giving out aid. They're enjoying it. They're vindictive, and they're actually enjoying what they're doing. Let's quickly take a look at the most live updates right now, courtesy of Al Jazeera. And this is from today, as you can see here, July the 1st. And again, it is really distressing. So I'll read a little bit out to you, and we'll take a quick look here for you. We'll take a quick look. UNRWA chief has criticized the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, GHF. So I was right, it was GHF, calling for the scheme to be scrapped and accusing it of exacerbating the suffering of Palestinians in the besieged enclave. Doctors in Gaza warned that thousands of babies could die as baby formula supplies run dry under Israel's blockade. At least 95 Palestinians were killed in Israeli attacks throughout Gaza, including more than a dozen desperate people seeking food at U.S. Israeli-backed aid distribution sites. A senior Hamas official told Al Jazeera, "We are determined to seek a ceasefire that will save our people," and accused Israel of sabotaging the negotiations. This stat here that I'm going to read to you right now is absolutely disturbing. Israel's war on Gaza has killed at least 56,531 people and wounded 133,642, according to Gaza's health ministry. An estimated 1,139 people were killed in Israel during the October 7th attacks and more than 200 taken captive. Just think about it for a moment here. Imagine out of all these numbers here, how many of them were innocent children and women, right? Right now, Israeli settlers are actually going into occupied Gaza, and they're burning, the residents' houses there, their cars. It is absolutely chaos. And the worst part is that Donald Trump is in complete support of this. Recently, if you haven't heard, but Benjamin Netanyahu had a court date set, which was this Monday. But, obviously Donald Trump had to intervene and threatened to remove any funding for weapons and military, and they postponed the actual trial, which was for corruption. And surprisingly, he is going to be in the United States, in Washington, in the White House on Monday. So this is how justice works, guys. You've got one powerful country backing the other powerful country. So in my books, in my opinion, they are both, not only is Benjamin Netanyahu, a genocidal maniac and responsible for the deaths of hundreds of thousands of people, but so is Donald Trump. Earlier in his presidency, he sent $13 billion worth of bombs to Israel. He supported the war against Iran. It's just absolutely disgusting as to what they're doing over there. But they both belong in prison, and that is a fact. But let's continue on with the video here. This is just absolutely insane. And the world is waking up. There's protests all over the world, in the United States and Canada, everywhere. People are starting to see what is going on, because enough is enough, right? Enough is enough. How many times are you going to go in there and make excuses that you're looking to kill Hamas and there's nothing there? How many hospitals do you have to destroy before calling it quits? How many innocent children have to die and starve to death before you call it quits? It's amazing. Germany is in support of Israel, and they clearly said when the war was going on with Iran that Israel has a right to defend itself. I mean, come on. It's just excuse after excuse. Meanwhile, thousands of Palestinians die. Let's continue and look at some other articles here that are very interesting. So I mentioned to you the oxycodone. Yes, that is 100% true. It is just absolutely disgusting. This is another heartbreaking video, and it's only 19 seconds. I'm going to play it for you. Just imagine that is your child, or your niece, or your daughter, or your granddaughter who is suffering for food like that, from lack of food like that, and lack of medical attention. It is summertime, it is hot, and this is what they're doing. This is exactly what they're doing. You can see here, this is, it's a good thing to see here. The Iranians, became more united. But again, this is for a different video. This is absolutely insane. This is another stat that we should look at. 19,000 children in 6 months. Breaking. 19,000 children in Gaza admitted for acute malnutrition this year. I mean, food, water, medical aid, okay? That is basic human right, and this is what they're being denied. And as I mentioned to you earlier, there it is. Yesterday, Trump threatened to withhold aid to Israel unless the court reverses their decision to move forward with Netanyahu's trial. Today, Israel's court reverses their decision and postpones it. And what a joke. And Ron Filkowski is absolutely right. It is a complete joke. You have a war criminal roaming around, bombing. And the ironic part is that they say that, Iran is the threat. Palestinians are the threat. Meanwhile, you have Benjamin Netanyahu, who started a war with Yemen, who started a war with Syria, who started a war with Palestine, has started a war with Iran. Meanwhile, you've got Iran, who hasn't started a war in 250 years. You've got Palestinians who are actually trying to just save their land from occupation, and they're getting, it's complete genocide, right? Genocide by starvation, chemical warfare, occupation, and the ceasefire. I'm going to do a separate video on the ceasefire as well too, but apparently the ceasefire is completely one-sided. Donald Trump is working out some sort of ceasefire with Benjamin Netanyahu, and they want Iran and the Middle East to recognize Israel as a state, and they are planning to basically occupy Gaza and move everybody out, ethnically cleanse, move them to other Islamic cities. And this is just absolutely ridiculous. But it reminds me of something, and I'm going to close the video off with this. Right now, for Shia specifically, it is the month of Muharram. It is the most important 10 days in the calendar. Imam Hussein alayhi wassalam sacrificed his life to uphold Islam, and he said to Yazid that a man like me will never submit to a man like you. And this is exactly what's happening right now. Ayatollah Khamenei also said that. He said the same thing, that we will never surrender. The Gaza right now, they are not surrendering, because we do not surrender to oppression. All right, that is the thought, and this is exactly what's happening right now. Yazid denied Imam Hussein and his family of water and food, and this is exactly what's happening in Gaza. Yazid stopped resources, and today's Yazid, Netanyahu, also is stopping water. History is repeating itself. So I urge you guys again, and I've said this in many videos before. Please send letters to your MPs, to your prime ministers, your governors, your congressmen, whatever your political parties are. Send them and let them know that this has to stop, that they have to stop supporting Israel. No more weapons, no more wars. They need our help. We are their voices. Every day there's killing going on there. There is no ceasefire. And if there is going to be one, as I mentioned, it is looking like it's going to be very one-sided. And I doubt that Palestinians are going to surrender their land. It is their land. Again, please don't forget them. Remember them in your prayers. We're not able to go there. We're on the sidelines. But if you're just watching from the sidelines and you're quiet, you're still complicit. Don't be complicit. Be part of the change, right? No child deserves to live like the way these children are living in Palestine. It is a time for them to go to school, enjoy their days, have ice cream and play outside, ride their bikes, but they're not able to do that. They're digging bodies out from under rubble and burying their parents. Shame on Israel. Shame on Benjamin Netanyahu. Shame on Donald Trump. Thank you again for watching my video. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment. Tell me how you feel about the situation. I'd love to hear from you. Let's get to 2,000 subscribers as fast as possible. Again, this is Sean from TNP. Catch you on the other side.